What if I told you that the device in your pocket right now has changed the way you make friends, fall in love, and even how you see yourself? Not just changed it, completely transformed it. And the wildest part, most of us didn't see it coming.
From staying connected across continents to feeling lonelier than ever in a crowded room, social media is the paradox of our generation. Today, we're diving deep into the real, messy, beautiful, complicated truth about how these platforms are reshaping our daily lives.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk, Learn, Teach. I'm Alex, and I'm here with my incredible co-host, Maya. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this episode. We create English listening practice content that's real, relatable, and designed to help you improve while actually enjoying what you're listening to.
And if you've been with us before, we're so grateful you keep coming back. Before we dive into today's episode, please do us a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button and share this podcast with someone who might find this conversation valuable. Your support means everything to us.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about something that literally affects every single one of us, every single day: social media. It's everywhere. It's in our pockets, it's on our wrists, and honestly, it's probably why you picked up your phone in the first place.
I know I did. I was supposed to be writing something important, and I ended up watching a 15-minute video about someone reorganizing their kitchen. Not even a kitchen I'll ever have, but there I was, completely invested.
So here's the thing that I think gets lost in the conversation about social media. Yes, there are real problems. Yes, it can be addictive and harmful. But we need to acknowledge something important first. Social media has genuinely changed people's lives in beautiful ways.
You're absolutely right, and I think that's where the conversation usually gets stuck. People either say social media is amazing or it's terrible, but the truth is so much more nuanced than that.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. My cousin Sarah, she's in rural India, right? She's an artist, really talented, but where she lives, there aren't galleries or art communities or anything like that. Then she discovered Instagram. She started posting her work, connecting with other artists around the world, and now she's selling pieces internationally. Her whole life changed because of that platform.
That's such a powerful example, and it's not just about business or money. Think about the communities that exist on social media. People finding others with the same rare health conditions, the same interests, the same struggles. Someone in a small town who felt completely alone could suddenly find thousands of people who understand them.
Right. I met one of my closest friends through Twitter. We bonded over a shared love of terrible reality TV shows, and now we talk almost every day, even though we live in different countries. Without social media, that friendship would never have existed.
And that's something we really need to honor. For a lot of people, especially those who are isolated, whether that's because of geography, disability, or circumstance, social media provides genuine community. It's not fake, it's real connection happening through a digital medium.
It also democratized information and creativity in ways we couldn't have imagined 20 years ago. An unknown musician can go viral and build a career. A young activist can organize a movement from their bedroom. Artists, writers, creators of all kinds have found audiences they never would have reached otherwise.
And during the pandemic especially, social media kept us sane. People were connecting, exercising together, learning new skills through live streams. I took an entire cooking course on Instagram Live from a chef in France. The connection was real. The learning was real.
So we have to start by saying this loud and clear. Social media has some genuinely incredible benefits. It's connected the world in unprecedented ways. But that's also where things get complicated.
Let's talk about what happens when the benefits become the problem, because here's what I've noticed, and I'm curious if you've experienced this too. Social media is engineered to be beneficial in ways that are also deeply manipulative.
What do you mean?
Okay, so platforms want you to stay engaged, right? That's their business model. Engagement equals ad revenue. So they've built these systems, algorithms, notifications, the whole design of the interface to keep your attention. And the result is the same platforms that help people find genuine community are also designed in ways that make them lose hours without realizing it.
So that's actually a really important distinction. So like the feature that brings people together is also the feature that's addictive?
Exactly. The notification system is genius from a design perspective, but it's also Pavlovian conditioning. Your phone buzzes, your brain releases dopamine in anticipation, and you check it. That happens hundreds of times a day, and your brain starts to crave that hit.
I read something about this. The designers actually borrowed principles from slot machines. They wanted to create that same unpredictability and reward pattern that makes gambling so addictive.
Yes, and most of the people using these apps don't realize they're essentially playing a game that's designed by teams of engineers, psychologists, and behavioral scientists. These people are studying how your brain works and using that knowledge to keep you on the app longer.
But here's what I want to understand. Is that inherently evil, or is it just how the internet works now? Like when you watch a Netflix series and suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you've watched 6 episodes, is Netflix doing something wrong?
That's a good question. I think the difference is intention and transparency. Netflix is designed to be addictive, sure, but it's clear that you're consuming entertainment. With social media, there's often this illusion that you're being productive or social or learning something. You're not, you're just scrolling, and that gap between the illusion and the reality is where it gets dangerous.
So it's like false productivity?
Exactly. You could spend 2 hours on Instagram and feel like you accomplished something, like you're connected to people, like you're informed or creative. But the reality is you might have just looked at a bunch of photos and felt a little bit worse about your own life.
Speaking of feeling worse about your own life, can we talk about comparison? Because I think this is where social media really starts to hurt people.
Oh, the comparison trap. It's real, and it affects pretty much everyone I know.
Walk me through it. What does that look like in your daily life?
Okay, so imagine I'm having a terrible day. Nothing is working, I'm stressed, my apartment is a mess, I haven't exercised in weeks, and my skin is breaking out. I'm not feeling great about myself. And then I open Instagram, right? And suddenly I'm looking at my friends' perfect vacation photos or some influencer's morning routine in their gorgeous home with morning light streaming through the windows, or someone's fitness transformation pictures.
And your brain just goes,
It goes haywire because here's the problem. I'm comparing my behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. I'm comparing the reality of my worst moments to the curated best moments of everyone else's lives. And guess what? I'm always going to lose that comparison.
but logically, you know that's what's happening, right? You know people don't post the messy parts.
Logically, yes, but emotionally, my brain doesn't care. There's this part of me that sees these images and thinks, why can't I have that? What am I doing wrong? Why am I so far behind? And that feeling, that doesn't go away just because I understand the psychology behind it.
I think that's something people don't talk about enough. You can be incredibly aware of how social media works and still be affected by it. Awareness doesn't equal immunity.
Right. I've met people who literally create social media content for a living, influencers, content creators, and they'll tell you that even knowing exactly how the sausage is made, even when it's their sausage they're making, they still feel the comparison hit.
That's wild.
One creator I know said she would post a photo that took 3 hours to set up and edit, and then scroll through her feed and feel bad about herself because the photos looked so effortless and perfect. Like, she knew the truth, and she still got pulled into the comparison anyway.
So what's the solution? Like, do we just accept that social media will always make us feel bad?
No, but I think the solution requires being honest about what you're looking at. Start questioning it. When you see a photo, ask yourself, what am I not seeing? What happened before this moment? What will happen after? Get curious instead of just consuming.
And maybe also be intentional about who and what you follow. Like if following someone consistently makes you feel bad about yourself, that's information. That's your brain telling you something.
Absolutely. I unfollowed a lot of accounts, people I genuinely like, because following their accounts made me anxious. And that's okay. That's not mean. That's just protecting your mental space.
Here's something that blows my mind. We live in the most connected era in human history. You can literally video call someone on the other side of the world for free. And yet, loneliness is at an all-time high.
The loneliness epidemic. It's real, and I don't think it's coincidental.
Tell me more.
Okay, so social media creates this illusion of connection. You have 500 friends online. You're constantly getting updates about what people are doing. You're liking their photos, commenting on their posts. You feel connected to them. But here's the thing, that's not the same as real connection.
Why not? I've had meaningful conversations with people online.
You can, absolutely. But those conversations are the exception, not the rule. Most social media interaction is surface level. It's curated, it's brief, it's often one-directional. You're watching other people's lives happen, but you're not really present with them.
That's depressing.
It is, but there's something else going on too. Social media is actually replacing deeper interactions. Think about it. If you're spending 3 hours a day on social media, that's time you could have spent calling a friend, having a real conversation, being present with the people physically around you.
So it's not just that social media is empty, it's that it's crowding out the real connections.
Exactly. And there's this weird effect where the more connected you are online, the more isolated you feel. You're surrounded by hundreds of people, but you don't feel truly seen or understood by any of them.
I actually experienced this during the pandemic. I was on Zoom calls all day for work, and then I'd scroll social media at night, and I thought I was staying connected, but I felt so lonely.
Because you weren't having real conversations. You weren't making eye contact or hearing someone's voice or feeling their presence. Zoom is closer to real interaction than scrolling, but it's still not the same as being in a room with someone.
So what's the answer? Should we just delete everything?
I don't think it's that simple, but I do think we need to be intentional. Use social media to supplement real-world connection, not replace it. Like, send that message to a friend, but then actually hang out with them in person. Follow people who inspire you, but balance it with time offline.
And maybe also be honest about when social media is serving you and when it's just taking your time.
Yes, because here's the truth. Social media is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used well or poorly. A hammer can build a house or hurt someone. It depends on how you use it.
I want to talk about something heavier now, because while social media has these incredible benefits, the mental health impacts are serious.
Yeah, this is where I get really frustrated with the narrative around social media, because the benefits we talked about earlier, they're overshadowed for a lot of people by the genuine harm.
What kind of harm are we talking about?
Depression, anxiety, disordered eating, body image issues, low self-esteem. There are actual studies showing correlations between heavy social media use and these mental health issues, especially in young people.
But is it the social media causing the problem, or are people with mental health issues drawn to social media?
That's the question researchers are trying to answer, and honestly, it's probably both. But let me give you a concrete example. Body image issues. A young girl is developing her sense of self, right? And she's scrolling through Instagram where she sees hundreds of images of what the ideal female body looks like. These images are usually filtered, edited, sometimes surgically altered, but she's seeing them as her baseline for normal.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a developing brain.
Right, and then when she looks at herself in the mirror, she's comparing her unfiltered, unedited, unglamorous reality to that impossible standard. Over time, that can create serious body image issues, eating disorders, and mental health problems.
But couldn't that have happened before social media? Like magazines and TV had filtered images too.
They did, but not at this scale and not with this personalization. A magazine was once a month. Social media is all day, every day, and the algorithm learns what kind of content triggers you and feeds you more of it. It's targeting your vulnerabilities.
That's actually sinister when you say it like that.
It is, and for people who are already struggling with anxiety, depression, trauma, social media can be genuinely dangerous. Not just unpleasant, but dangerous. There are people who have experienced suicidal thoughts triggered or worsened by social media use.
That's serious. So how do people navigate this? If social media is both connecting them to communities and also potentially harming their mental health, what's the answer?
I think it starts with awareness. Know your triggers. If scrolling before bed makes you anxious, don't do it. If comparing yourself to influencers makes you feel bad, unfollow them. If certain platforms don't serve you, take breaks or delete them.
And maybe also talk about it. I feel like there's so much shame around struggling with social media. People don't want to admit that they're addicted or that it's affecting them negatively.
That's huge. The shame keeps people isolated and makes the problem worse. If you're struggling, talk to someone. Tell a friend, tell a therapist, because social media addiction and the mental health impacts are real, and they're not something you have to deal with alone.
I want to shift gears a bit, because I think we've been pretty heavy on the negative side, and I want to talk about how people are actually using social media well.
Yes, please, because it's not all doom and gloom. There are people who have figured out how to use these platforms in really healthy, positive ways.
Like what?
Well, I have a friend who started a mental health awareness Instagram account. She posts about her own experiences with anxiety and depression, and she's built this incredible community of people who support each other. The comment sections on her posts are like therapy sessions, people sharing their struggles, offering advice, celebrating each other's wins.
That's beautiful.
It is. And she's told me that having the platform has genuinely changed her life. It's given her purpose, and it's also helped her feel less alone. She's not using social media passively, she's using it to build something meaningful.
What else?
Activism. Social movements that would have taken years to organize can now happen in weeks. Small businesses run entirely on social media. People who couldn't afford physical storefronts can now reach thousands of customers. Parents connecting over parenting challenges. Fitness communities supporting each other toward health goals.
So the difference is intentionality, right? These are all people who are using social media for a specific purpose.
Exactly. They're not just scrolling passively. They're creating, engaging, building, supporting. They're using the tool for something that matters to them.
And I think there's also something important about being part of a community with shared values. Like if you join a social media group around something you care about, whether that's environmental activism or books or knitting or parenting, suddenly you're not just scrolling, you're part of something.
Right. And that's the healthy version of connection that social media can provide. It's not about likes and followers. It's about being seen by people who get it.
So the lesson is, social media isn't inherently good or bad. It depends on how you use it.
And that's the key takeaway. You have agency here. You can decide how you engage with these platforms. You can set boundaries, you can delete apps, you can take breaks. You're not powerless.
Let's give people some actual tools. Like, what are some practical things someone can do right now to have a healthier relationship with social media?
Okay, number 1, audit what you're following. Go through your feeds, all of them, and ask yourself, does this account make me feel good or bad? If it's consistently making you feel bad, unfollow it. No guilt, no explanation needed.
That's good. What else?
Set specific times for social media instead of checking it all day. Like maybe you scroll for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night, but not in between. This actually trains your brain to stop craving constant hits of dopamine.
And the notifications, should people turn those off?
Absolutely. Notifications are the biggest culprit for addictive behavior. Turn off all non-essential notifications. The only one I personally have is for direct messages from close friends.
That's a big change.
It is, but you notice it pretty quickly. Without notifications, you're not being pulled into the app constantly. You only open it when you actively choose to.
What about before bed? I know a lot of people scroll right before sleep.
That's one of the worst things you can do. The blue light messes with your sleep, and the stimulation of social media keeps your brain active. Try to have a phone-free hour before bed. Read a book, have a conversation, take a walk. Anything but social media.
And this is important for everyone, but especially young people.
Especially young people. Their brains are still developing, and they're more vulnerable to social media's addictive design and negative impacts. I think parents need to be involved in this conversation. Not in a controlling way, but in a supportive way.
Like teaching digital literacy.
Yes, teaching kids how to think critically about what they see online, how algorithms work, what the signs of unhealthy use look like. Because these platforms aren't going away, so kids need to learn how to use them safely.
What about adults? What's the most important thing an adult can do?
Honestly, check in with yourself regularly. Ask yourself, is social media serving me right now? Is it making my life better or worse? Do I feel good after I use it or bad? Those are the questions that matter.
And if the answer is bad?
Then something needs to change, whether that's unfollowing accounts, taking a break, using new tools to limit your time, or getting professional help if you're really struggling. There are options.
So where is this all going? Like, what does social media look like in 10 years?
That's a terrifying question.
I know, but I'm curious. Do you think we'll see a backlash, a shift away from social media?
I think we're already seeing a shift. Younger generations are using platforms differently than millennials. Some are deleting apps, some are using private, smaller communities instead of public feeds. I think there's definitely growing awareness that the status quo isn't healthy.
And on the technology side, are there developments that might make platforms less addictive?
There are some companies trying to build social media in less exploitative ways. Apps with no algorithms, no ads, no engagement metrics. But honestly, they're up against billion-dollar companies that profit from keeping us hooked.
So, regulation?
Probably. I think we'll see more government involvement, especially around data privacy and protecting young people. Some countries are already starting to do that.
Do you think it will help?
I hope so, but I also think a lot depends on individual choice. Even if the platforms change, people need to be willing to use them differently, and that requires education and awareness and honest conversations, which is what we're trying to do here.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is, but I think that's important. Social media is so embedded in our lives that we often don't stop to think about how it's affecting us, and that's dangerous.
So, in a way, this episode is an invitation to pause and reflect.
Exactly. Think about your relationship with social media. Is it serving you? Is it harming you? And what are you going to do about it?
This has been such a deep conversation, and I feel like we've only scratched the surface. Social media is complex. It's not all good or all bad. It's a tool that's reshaping how we connect, how we think, how we see ourselves, and how we relate to the world.
And the fact that you're even thinking about this, that you're listening to this episode and reflecting on your own relationship with these platforms, that matters. That's how change starts, with awareness and honest conversations.
So here's what we want from you. First, if you've gotten this far, please hit that subscribe button for Talk, Learn, Teach. New episodes drop weekly, and we dive into real topics that affect your daily life. Your subscription helps us continue creating this content.
And please share this episode with someone. Share it with a friend who's struggling with social media. Share it with someone who's a creator or influencer. Share it with a parent worried about their kids' phone use. These are conversations we all need to have.
Most importantly, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell us about your relationship with social media. Has it helped you? Has it hurt you? What's your biggest struggle with it? What's a positive way you've used it?
These comments matter. They help us understand what you're going through, and they help other listeners feel less alone in their struggles. We read and respond to as many as we can, so please, don't hold back.
And if you're really struggling with social media addiction or the mental health impacts, please reach out to someone, a friend, a family member, a therapist. You don't have to go through this alone.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us, for listening, for engaging, for thinking about these important questions. You're part of building a more mindful internet culture, and that matters.
Keep learning, keep thinking, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care of yourselves, friends.
Thanks for being part of Talk, Learn, Teach.